My biggest mistake in business was ridiculing somebody else. That knocked my confidence down. That ate away at me. That made me one of those people that would point fingers. How would it impact my confidence? Because then I would think I should become like that. And yet, all I just did was limit myself, take my belief, put it into my sandals and trample all over it. And I'm like, really? Catch a wake up, Jen. Welcome to my channel. My name is Genevieve Stafford-Jack. If you are new here, I'd love to welcome you. If you are returning, I would love to say welcome back, and also welcome myself back after 3 weeks of having a sabbatical from YouTube. I am fired up and ready to go. So let's get into this, right? I learned that when I was in the workplace, there's entrepreneurs that would return to the workplace, right? And they would say to me, you know what, Jen, if you want to leave and you want to go and start your own thing, just remember you needed to have saved X amount of money. And I was like, well, if I save that amount of money, when am I ever going to start my own business? Not realizing the first thing I could have done is found work online. And for me, in hindsight, that has been one of my superpowers. I'll put up a video here. I was very curious about, earning money online. So I went down the rabbit hole of affiliate marketing and all sorts of stuff until one day I typed in online testing jobs. I did my research and realized that in my research and just collecting things, if it's true, how $78 in less than an afternoon was able to hit my account. And I'm like, what? Did I not know? The second thing is I learned about how to shape and understand a lot that goes into YouTube. So I really give it my all every time I do a video to get you information succinct, short, and to the point, and also just make sure that I optimize my videos, right? And I'd done a course, and that was in the middle of COVID, actually 3 months into COVID. And so over time, I'm like, okay, cool. This is how I need to do things. Had I just learned those two things that I can do online, when I put all of those times together, it barely scratches the surface of actually working an 8 to 5 job for 1 week. And yet that is able to bring me in a healthy sum of money that is able to say, okay, cool. When I get that money, I'm able to sustain X, Y, Z. So now, why would I say all of that? I really wished, instead of looking at the extreme of when they said, this is what you should do, I really wish I investigated just 2 or 3 more months to see how many different effective ways could I actually earn money online that is not a scam, that didn't involve affiliate marketing, that did not involve me jumping through 75 hoops. And this is one of the things I'd love, that where you're sitting and you're actually saying to yourself, I really wish I could do this or do that or do this. Investigate those things before you jump ship. Because I promise you this, it's easy for people that are well established within property to say, I only do property. I do nothing else but property. I respect and commend them from far. Because in my mind, especially because of COVID, I'd gone through that period. Had I had that approach, I would have been stuck for nothing when I was within COVID. Because doing property sourcing, property wholesaling, that is, I would need to go out there and I'd need to consistently be out there. And I'm one of those people that since COVID has hit, I'm a little bit of a hermit, okay? Very seldom do I go out. If you come into my house, you open the freezer, you'll find 10 loaves of bread. Why? Because I don't want to go to spa every other day, which is what we're so used to doing. And so when I look back and I think, oh, of all the mistakes that I made, I really wish I could have fixed that one. But I'm so glad that when I was having that internal conversation, I asked myself, but could you not fix it now? And so I'm able to earn a proper salary just by doing those two things. And when I look at it again over a period of time, some days it's 2 hours, another days it's 3 hours, and then for another 3 days there's nothing that's happening. But because I know my clients systematically with the things that I do, I already know that, you know what, I can wait for some things to pile up and make that an 8-hour day. And then I don't have to look back at things for another week. So that flexibility is in my hands. And guess what? In all of my searching, I really just wanted flexibility in the work that I did. And that was such an aha moment. Did I want to run my own business? Not necessarily. Did I want to become this, badass entrepreneur? Not necessarily. But all I wanted to do was to make sure that I've got the flexibility to really multiply what I had in my hands. Another mistake that I made that really impacted me, and I really would love that you hear me nicely with this one. When I got into property investing, I'd gone to a seminar, I'd gone into training, and eventually we were sold into coaching. Some time after that, we were shooting the lights out, really getting this property sourcing thing on lockdown. Oh, pardon the pun there. Really getting this property thing on lockdown. And then there was a company that was a startup company that was starting up, and they said, come in contact with us and share your story and how you did property, right? And getting into that particular space, I then started seeing the business model. Oh, did the business model depress me? Because I realized that is what I had gone through, and it actually just felt scammy. And it's not a scam, people will teach you to as far as they know and all of that. And I'm like, oh, this is just, oh. And I really was, like, for a while, like, I can't explain. Like, I felt empty inside. And then I realized I don't need to. It's the glasses that I'm looking at. There's a whole business model from. Okay? And so for a long time, when people said, oh, teach me, I ran away. Because you know what? All I saw was that business model. All I saw was that business model. What I did not see is that some people will relate to you. People will relate to your journey. People want to see that you're a person. People want to see, okay, if you're doing this and you're shooting the lights out, can you show me how you're doing it? People want that tangibility, to sit down and have coffee with you. People want that connection. And I was like, did I not see all of this and just see a business model and deprive people from getting ahead? And I was like, wake up, girl. I was having that moment. I promise you, I had this, like, really, how could I feel intimidated by teaching somebody else what I did, what I'm doing, how I can connect them to my networks, how I can show. Ladies and gents, I almost want to say drop the mic at this point, because I learned that sometimes when we don't really understand what happens in the entrepreneurship world, we're quick to ridicule, we're quick to throw stones, we're quick to say, oh, if they're not earning money in the thing that they're doing, they're reverting to teaching. Oh, shame, I was there too. Never you mind. And since I'd opened my mind to people literally sitting opposite me and saying, I need your help, I've been able to serve so many people in the last 2 years, but in a very strict way. I don't just say, yeah, come on board. I don't teach 75 people at the same time. And again, nothing wrong with teaching 75 people at the same time, but that's not my MO. And so the biggest mistake I made in business is ridiculing other business models that work perfectly fine because of my limited perspective on how the business world works. I thought it's just scammy. I thought it's just manipulative. I thought so many different things, and then I realized how narrow-minded I was to think that way. Because when I sit down now and somebody sends me, hey coach, this is what I did. Hey coach, this is what I learned. Hey coach, I hit my head because I wanted to prove you wrong, but you proved me wrong, or something like that. You know what? I cannot express that feeling of accomplishment, to have literally helped somebody move from this point, transition into somebody else. And I'm like, my biggest mistake in business was ridiculing somebody else. That knocked my confidence down. That ate away at me. That made me one of those people that would point fingers. How would it impact my confidence? Because then I would think I should become like that. And yet, all I just did was limit myself, take my belief, put it into my sandals and trample all over it. And I'm like, really? Catch a wake up, Jen. I know this is a video where I just feel like I'm spilling my guts, but I really want you to hear me, right? The biggest mistake that I also made was thinking that my transactional skill will supersede any other skill. Here's what I mean. Can I train? Yes. Am I accredited to train? Yes. You know, all those qualifications we look for in the things that we do, training, coaching, blah, blah, blah. I got those qualifications and the experience, okay? And the on-the-desk work experience and the stakeholder management experience. All of that stuff that I did, that I put together to make sure that this looks like my business model and why I came into training and coaching. All of that was in perfect shape. But what was sorely lacking was connecting with people who are going to get me in front of the right people to use this transactional skill. You know, connecting with people in HR is very, very different. Connecting to people sometimes in spaces of authority is also very, very different when you're an entrepreneur. When we are employees in a company, we can share from them and us perspective. When you're an entrepreneur, some of the bitter things that I actually had gone through was having somebody on the other side of the desk wonder why my fees are high, right? And I've just left work. And then I'm like, do you know how much I used to earn at work? But then on the other hand, you know what my other defense mechanism? The best one yet is you did not complain when another business came and quoted you 4 times the amount of money and would send somebody that's still learning to teach that. Now you're complaining about a rate because you're looking at me as we were employees before. Now I'm an entrepreneur and I've got a different card to play. And I promise you that impacted my confidence to a point where I felt like, am I worth it? I started questioning myself, like, is all those years of experience actually worth it? And yeah, I was for a long time just sad. I was just sad. I didn't know how to get through to people. I just didn't understand, how am I connecting with people? What am I saying to people? I thought I had this on lockdown, but not. And then after a while I realized, you know, when you get desperate in business, that is ultimately the biggest mistake that you can really just put on yourself. When you get desperate, when you don't have money and you are pushing for something to work out and you are burnt out and your sourcing deal fell through and you didn't have this little pot of money somewhere sitting there as gold, when you have these things that are going on, people smell your desperation. And I realized my desperation impacted my confidence, undermined what I am capable of. And I was like, no, like really, you know, can you kind of put in all the bleeps there? I felt like, you've got to be kidding me. This is not happening to moi. This can't be happening to me. And that's when I learned over time, business will humble you. It will get you into a point where you actually feel like, I'm not worth it. But let me share with you today, you are worth it. All you need to do is actually ask yourself, when you get into a space of saying, I really wish I could have done X, Y, Z, maybe ask yourself, so now is not too late. How can I get into it? So for those that are doing property sourcing, try and find a small little thing yana to do that you know you can earn an income with. Like, I'm a SEO manager on YouTube for a different channel. I'm trying to grow to monetize my channel to a point, but in monetizing my channel, I want to give as much free information as possible that people can use not just to listen and get goosebumps with, but people can use, right? Like the 9-hour like the 9-hour free training that I'd given in March. People need to be able to go out and use that information, right? How far can I give something for free that will not be complicated for people? Before I bring them on board and doing any sort of coaching or any sort of training with them, I want to know, have you actually gone through that training? Because if not, go and find somebody else to, rather teach you. I want to know that I have left an impact. So in this particular video, I really pray that you are able to take a lot of nuggets from some of my venting, nuggets from some of the lessons that I wish I had learned earlier, but more so, I pray that you are able to take action with the practical stuff so that you can get from point A to point B.